Imagine a man who never bathed. His beard reeked of stale food, his clothes smelled like a barn, and his fingernails were black with dirt. By all logic, women should have avoided him like the plague. But in Russia's glittering high society, the exact opposite happened. The richest, most beautiful women, aristocrats, wives of generals, even nuns, competed for a chance to be with him. They wrote him love letters, waited outside his door for hours, and even kept bits of his hair like sacred relics. This wasn't a rock star. This was Grigori Rasputin, a dirt-poor peasant who somehow seduced his way into the heart of the Russian Empire. And the story of how he did it is stranger than any legend. A frozen beginning. Grigori Rasputin was born in 1869 in Pokrovskoye, a tiny, snow-blanketed Siberian village, so remote it might as well have been the edge of the world. His family were dirt-poor farmers, barely surviving off their land. He never learned to read or write. In winter, his boots leaked and his belly ached from hunger. As a boy, he was just another scruffy face in the snow, sometimes stealing to eat, sometimes vanishing into the woods for days. But there was something about his eyes. People swore they could see straight into your soul. That strange spark would take him from the frozen mud of Siberia to the golden halls of the Tsar. The cult that changed him. At 18, Rasputin crossed paths with a bizarre religious group called the KHLYSDY. They believed you had to drown yourself in sin, drinking, lust, and indulgence in order to truly repent and find God. It was wild, even for Russia. Rasputin soaked it up like a sponge. He began calling himself a starets, a wandering holy man, walking barefoot from village to village, preaching in strange, hypnotic tones. People thought he was a lunatic, but women started to follow him, drawn in by a pull they couldn't explain. A loyal wife, an unfaithful husband. When Rasputin was 19, he married Praskovia, a quiet village girl. Together they had 4 children. She stood by him through everything, even when he disappeared for months and rumors swirled of his affairs. She claimed it was all part of his holy mission. In truth, Rasputin wasn't faithful to anyone except his own desires. Most men would dream of such loyalty. Rasputin simply took it for granted. The long pilgrimage. Soon, the pull of the road was too strong. Rasputin left his family behind to make long pilgrimages, walking across Russia to holy sites, eventually reaching Jerusalem and Mount Athos in Greece. He survived on bread crusts and whatever strangers gave him. Over time, his beard grew thick and matted, his clothes stained, his smell unforgettable. But each step earned him whispers of being a healer, a man who could see the future. These whispers would open doors in places he never imagined. The big city breakthrough. In 1903, Rasputin arrived in St. Petersburg, Russia's dazzling capital. He stuck out like a sore thumb among the polished nobility. His rough peasant clothes and wild stare contrasted sharply with their tailored suits. Yet, that's exactly what got him noticed. Church officials and aristocrats invited him into their salons, curious about the strange monk from Siberia. Within 2 years, in 1905, he was introduced as Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra. And everything changed. The miracle that made him untouchable. The royal couple's only son, Alexei, suffered from hemophilia, a deadly bleeding disorder. No doctor could help him. The Tsarina was desperate until Rasputin walked in. He prayed over the boy, and miraculously, the bleeding stopped. Whether it was faith, luck, or hypnosis, no one knew. But in the Tsarina's mind, Rasputin had saved her child. From that moment, he became untouchable. Women chased him. Rasputin didn't pursue women, they pursued him. Aristocrats, servants, even nuns sought him out. They camped outside his residence, sent letters dripping with desire, and sometimes included explicit drawings. One admirer even kept a lock of his filthy hair like a sacred relic. Rasputin never rushed them. He'd sit still, letting them orbit around him, each convinced they were special. The sinful salvation. One of his most shocking teachings was simple: sin with me, and God will love you more. To outsiders, it was blasphemy, but to his followers, it was irresistible. He claimed intimacy with him would purify their souls. Even jealous husbands often approved, believing his actions were holy. Rasputin had flipped morality upside down, and people loved him for it. The swagger that trumped stench. By all accounts, Rasputin's appearance was repulsive: greasy beard, yellow teeth, and clothes that smelled like livestock. But he carried himself like a king. He didn't bow, didn't beg, and didn't care who you were. That raw, unshakable confidence was magnetic. Women didn't care about his odor. They were intoxicated by his presence. Danger was part of the allure. Rasputin's life was one long flirtation with death. In 1914, a woman stabbed him in the stomach, nearly killing him. He survived and returned to his life as if nothing happened. Later, enemies poisoned him, shot him, and tried to drown him. Women didn't run from that kind of danger. They ran toward it. In their eyes, he was invincible. The power of silence. Most men talked to impress. Rasputin didn't need to. He'd stare at you with those pale, unblinking eyes, saying nothing until you were hanging on the edge of your seat. When he finally spoke, his voice was slow, low, and deliberate. He made every word count, forcing people to lean in. Silence became his weapon. Influence over the throne. By 1915, Tsar Nicholas was away fighting World War I, leaving the Tsarina to govern. She trusted Rasputin completely, even letting him choose government officials. His influence made him powerful enemies among the nobility, but he was untouchable as long as Alexander believed in him. Rasputin had mastered not just women, but power itself. The wild nights. Rasputin was a man of extremes. He could spend a night in deep prayer, or in wild drunken parties filled with music, wine, and women. The scandals were constant: public groping, drunken brawls, whispered orgies. Instead of destroying his reputation, these rumors only deepened his legend. To many women, the chaos was proof of his freedom from rules. A death as legendary as his life. By December 1916, his enemies had had enough. A group of nobles invited him to a private meeting, offering cakes laced with cyanide. When the poison didn't work, they shot him in the chest. Still alive, he fought back. They shot him again and dumped him into the icy Neva River. When his body was found, his lungs were full of water, meaning he had still been breathing under the ice. Even in death, Rasputin refused to go quietly.